Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, yesterday, given an overview of what this course is about, just given a complete overview on what we are going to discuss, and a few important topics we discussed. I will just give a summary. Yesterday, we discussed what are the challenges in modern web development. You remembered? So, can you name what are the challenges in modern web development? So few basic challenges we discussed about unified user experience, fluid user experience, and loosely coupled and extensible, and simplified deployment. These are all some basic challenges that we are facing in modern web development. And we discussed what does these means. What is unified experience? Unified user experience means an application must have same experience across devices. That means the same experience across devices. So fluid experience, user stays on only one page and gets access to everything onto the page. There is nothing like next page, previous page. Everything comes onto one page. Loosely coupled extensible, without affecting the application, we must able to add new features into the application without leading to any catastrophic failures. That's what actually loosely coupled and extensible. Simplified deployment. So the process, how it is deployed and used by client, single step installations and everything. These all detailedly we discussed. And what is the solution we discussed? The solution for this is to better to build what kind of applications, single page applications and progressive web application. So can we build single page applications and progressive web applications with JavaScript and jQuery? Yes. Now, what are the issues with the JavaScript and jQuery? So we discussed about few issues. DOM manipulations and all these are the problems that we face by using JavaScript and jQuery. And for this, we discussed what is solution. What is the solution again for this? We are using React, Angular, and Vue, and Backbone or Ember or Knockout. Yeah, Knockout and all these. So these are the basic things we discussed. And yesterday I explained one more difference. What is difference between Angular and React? I explained this scenario. These are few basic concepts we learned in the previous session. I just given you the overview of all these things. Now today we will discuss more detail about what and how this React works. So first, to understand the concept of React, you must know what are the features of React. Features of React. I already explained React, or you can say React or React.js. But AngularJS are different, right? We discussed that point. React or React.js both are same. So what are the features of React? How actually React works, and what are the key advantages of the React technology that you are going to deal with? These basic things first we will see, right? So these are all the topics. If anybody missed out these topics, yesterday's session, I will share a classroom code at the end of this session. There, that previous video I will upload. So today and yesterday's videos I will upload. You can go through them if anyone missed those concepts. So what are the features of React? We will see what are the key features of React. Well, first important feature about React is virtual DOM. That is the first important feature about React. What is virtual DOM and how it is going to work? So in order to understand virtual DOM, first you should know some more things in order to understand virtual DOM. I will explain those points, then you will get a clarity on virtual DOM. One of the key feature about React is virtual DOM. But in order to understand this, you should first know what is DOM. I hope if you are coming from the background of HTML, you know what is DOM, right? What is DOM? So let me explain a simple overview if anyone is not aware of that, so that they can understand. But everybody who knows HTML, they know about DOM. What is DOM? Let's see first what is the concept of DOM. I will explain a simple scenario here. Generally, we are using browsers. So we are using different types of browsers. And we are designing the web pages by using some markup language. The markup language we are using is HTML. By using HTML, we are designing a web page which need to present content on. How this process works at HTML level, you might have learned. I will just refresh that one more time. How this is going to display on browser. Actually, every browser have an engine. Every browser have an browser engine. Different browsers have different browser engines. Can you name some browser engines? V8 is a browser engine. Gecko is a browser engine. Chakra is a browser engine. WebKit is a browser engine. Different browsers have different engines. The complete processing of your HTML is under the control of these engines. That means how you are going to see a web page, that is completely depending on browser engines. Actually, this is the list here. Suppose, yeah, these are various browser engines. These are various browser engines. Chrome uses the browser engine. Chrome is a browser which uses the engine Blink and V8. Internet Explorer uses Trident and Chakra. Firefox uses Gecko, SpiderMonkey. Edge uses Edge HTML, Chakra. Recently, this Edge is using an engine called Chromium. Very recently, they updated their engine to Chromium. Edge is now the latest browser people are using, and it is built with an engine called Chromium. Now, Opera uses Blink and V8. Safari uses WebKit and Nitro. These are browser engines. This is an issue also. I hope as a web developer, you know that what is the major issue in web development? Browser compatibility. The major issue every web developer knows when he is writing HTML, CSS or JavaScript, he is worried about, is this going to work on every browser in the same way or not? That is the primary problem a developer usually faces while writing any web designing related logic, any presentation he is creating for web, because all browsers are not having common engine, and engine to engine there are so many variations, and some browser engines cannot understand what you written. That means the presentation will not same way everywhere. That's the reason Google asks you that better use our engine, use our browser, because their apps are designed for their engines, and if you try to run them on another engine, some concepts may not work properly. So that is the reason we force our clients to use specific browsers when we are designing certain type of content. So every browser have an engine which is responsible for converting everything. Then the point is how it is going to work for you. Generally, when you write some markup, that means you are writing some markup, like suppose a paragraph welcome. You written some markup. When you write the markup, this markup is first taken by the engine. What it will do is it will convert this markup into bytes, which is byte code, which is converted into binary. After converting the markup into binary, next step, this binary is converted into characters. This binary is converted into characters. Characters are nothing but, now you will have an angle brace, you will have a P, and you will have some angle brace close like this. It is everything converted into characters. These characters are combined. These characters are combined and they are made into a token. The characters are combined and made as a token. Usually, general people call this as tag. Technically, they are known as tokens. It is converted into a token. These tokens are converted into nodes. These tokens are converted into node. Usually, technical people call as node, general people call as element. We call them as element. Technically, it is node. That means the token is A, that is the token name. Token name is A, and the node name is anchor. That is the node name. And very important is this, after converting the tokens into elements, these elements are arranged in an hierarchical order. That means these elements are arranged in an hierarchical order. They have a parent. Hierarchical order. That hierarchical order comprises of parent and it comprises of child. That means it contains the parent and child element like this. Child 1, child 2. And this hierarchy of arranging your elements is called as, this is known as DOM. Document Object Model. That means whatever you written in HTML, it is first translated into bytes. The bytes are translated into characters. Characters are grouped and formed into tokens. Tokens are translated into nodes. Nodes are appended into an hierarchical order. That hierarchical order is called as DOM. document object model. After the hierarchy, after the hierarchical order, this DOM is converted into a layout. The DOM is converted into a layout. Layout means a layout represents where which content to be placed. A layout decides where which content need to be presented. That means header goes on top, footer comes in bottom, section comes between header, footer. So this is decided by layout. A layout is formed. This layout will undergo a process. This layout undergo a process called rendering. Rendering is the process of generating output. The rendering is the process of generating output. That means the final output is ready. This output need to be presented on your browser. And the process of presenting this output on your browser, this process is referred as painting. This is the final stage that happens. And the result of this painting, you will see the word welcome on your screen in a paragraph style. This is the basic flow of any HTML in any browser. That is how actually HTML works. So for example, I will just show you. You don't worry about what I am using, what I am writing. Just try to understand only the concept, right? Because what tools to use, how to use, these all things we will discuss later. That is not the point here. Suppose I am creating, this is a HTML page. I am just writing some paragraph and I am saying welcome. And I will launch this in a browser. So it will open in a browser. Let's open in a browser. And in a browser, I am displaying this welcome. And here, I am not using any hierarchical design like head, body, and anything. But let's go to the screen. Let's go to inspect. In the inspect, you can see the hierarchy is ready. Because browser knows where it should go. That means you may not follow the hierarchy, but there is an hierarchy of presentation. This hierarchical order of presentation is called as DOM. In the background, lot of work happens. Let's go to performance. In performance, let's start recording. And let's refresh this page for a while so that it will reload. I will reload this page. And after profiling for a few seconds, I will just keep it profile for 10-15 seconds. Okay, then stop. Now it will show the process what happened in the background. And the process in the background contains these phases where rendering and painting is finished and final, the output is generated here. That is the process happened in the background of browser. So what you are seeing as a result in a web page, in a browser, that is the result of a process called paint. Paint is the final stage where everything is printed on the screen. You designed heading, heading will print. You designed paragraph, paragraph will print. That is the painting process. So technically, this is background architecture of your browser, how it's going to work. So technically, every basic web designer knows this process and he knows now what is the DOM, right? I hope you are aware of this. So what is a DOM? DOM is an hierarchy. DOM is an hierarchy of presenting elements in browser. So document object model. It refers to document object model. HTML purpose is presenting DOM. The main purpose of HTML is presenting DOM. And actually, HTML presents the DOM. JavaScript jQuery manipulates the DOM. What is the relation between HTML and JavaScript? HTML presents DOM and JavaScript manipulates the DOM. That means HTML will put a button and JavaScript will make the button work. That means HTML is static DOM. JavaScript will make it as a dynamic DOM. And actually, it's not only just DOM. If I am using some style here, I am using some style here. In that paragraph, color is some red. Then there is another process happening simultaneously. There will be another process happening simultaneously. What is that process? The presentation of this is managed by DOM, and the presentation of this, because this color need to be applied to paragraph, and this is managed by CSSOM. That is CSS object model. There will be two document models running. One, the CSS object model, another one, document object model. So that is the reason if anybody complains that your page is slow, now developer have to monitor where it is slow. Is rendering slow? Is painting slow? Is tokenization slow? Tokenization means converting the characters into tags. Is tokenization slow? And based on that, he will take precautions. If it is painting slow, that means heavy elements are used. He will try to reduce and he will try to make it lightweight. Painting slow means final output rendering and presenting is slow. Right? That means the time taken, we need to measure that, which place it is delaying. And based on that, we need to handle the issue. So we have DOM and we have CSS object model. These two are working simultaneously. This is the basic hierarchy actually. This is the browser architecture. Every browser contains the user interface that you see. Every browser contains a browser engine and a rendering engine. Rendering engine responsibility is to generate output. And data persistence is nothing but the memory allocated for browser, usually where the local storage will be there. Suppose you created a cookie. The cookie is persisted inside the browser memory. If it is in-memory cookie or permanent cookie, depending on types. So this is basic browser architecture, and this is the basic flow. That means how the rendering works. HTML will use DOM, CSS will use CSSOM. The render tree is ready, layout, and finally painting. This is the parsing method actually. So we have bytes. Bytes are converted to characters. Characters are converted to tokens. Tokens are converted into nodes. Nodes are arranged in a hierarchy called DOM. This is the document object model. So HTML presents DOM. And JavaScript, jQuery, Angular, React, all these people, what they are doing, they are making the static DOM into dynamic. HTML can only present, right? These are going to manipulate the DOM, making the dynamic, right? And everybody have a different technique to handle. What's React's technique, I will tell you. We will see that. Initially, this is basic point you need to understand. That means actually this is the critical rendering path, how it works. That means we are using HTML, DOM, CSS object model, and render, and the final is the painting. The final process is paint. The result of paint is displaying what you see on screen. This is document object model and CSS object model. I will upload this diagram into Classroom first for your reference sake. I will upload this presentation. You can go through that, right? Technically, this is the first thing every web developer should know. What is DOM? I hope everyone is clear, right? So I will just give you the rendering path. We have markup. This markup transforms into bytes. Bytes will transform into characters. Characters will transform into tokens. Token is transformed into node. Node transforms into DOM. DOM will process a layout. This layout will go render, and final path is paint. That is how the process works for your browsers, right? This is DOM. So first you need to understand that. Another important, what is shadow DOM? Because you cannot crack React interviews without knowledge of all this. Because React interviews two types. For a fresher, what is it? And for an experienced person, how it is. That means for a fresher, the question is, what is browser engine? For an experienced person, how the browser engine works. That is two types of questions. That means an experienced person must have complete idea on the architecture behind the concept. A fresher must have experience only on the concept. That means for an experienced person, we don't test whether he knows the concept or not. Everybody knows. His experience counts only when he knows the architecture behind the concept. And our interviews questions will be related to architecture for experience, related to concept for fresher. So that is the reason at any level, if you have to crack React interviews as a fresher or experience, you should know all of these. So you should know what is a DOM, and you should know what is an shadow DOM. Shadow DOM, you might have worked, but you may not have an awareness on that regularly. Actually, shadow DOM is nothing but, for example, I will show you a simple point. What is the concept of shadow DOM? Suppose here, I am saying departure, and I want user to select a date. Then in HTML, we will say input type is date. Now, if I ask in general, what is this input type date? You may say that date is an element which allows you to pick up a date and select a date from a calendar. But what technically it is it is not an element. Date is not an element. Date is not an element. Actually, if date is not an element, what it is? Input is an element. Input is an element. Date is not element. What is date then if it is not an element? Any idea? It is a component. It is not an element. What is a component? Component is nothing but a component comprises of markup for presentation. It comprises of styles for making effective interface, and it contains the logic which makes it functional. A component comprises of three basic things. It contains markup, it contains styles, and it contains some logic that makes it dynamic. So all together is a component. For example, suppose here, this is Amazon. In this Amazon, you can see this sliding banner. it is a component called carousel. Am I right? It is a component called carousel. You have Netflix. In this Netflix, this is a component called accordion. You know, it is a component called accordion. That means if I asked you, please design an accordion for this purpose, then will you design this manually? No. We have ready-made component libraries. We import them and we implement this. We will not start designing this because we have a separate built-in libraries for that. We will just import and use. So what is a component means? It is having some presentation. It is having some styles. It is having some functionality. A component is a combination of all these things. Component is a combination of all these things. Now, this date is a component. You see here, I run this, it will display like this. Now, what do you think? What do you think this is element? No, it's not element. Here, a lot of things are there. What are there? Here, if you observe, this outside rectangle is a div. Inside the div, this is an icon. This is a div again, which is using an icon. And these are spans, you know, these are spans. And you click on it, it will pop up. And you click on it, it will select that and display. So it is having some presentation. It is having some styles. It is having some functionality. So it is a component. If you want to see what is behind this, that is Shadow DOM. That means under this component, some hierarchy is there. Under this component, some hierarchy is there. That hierarchy is Shadow DOM, which is not visible to you, but it is working. And if you want, you can see this Shadow DOM. Right click, inspect, go to developer tools. Here, you can see here, I will show you. Go to settings of your developer tools. In the settings, you see actually, I will show you first. As of now, you see input type date looks like a simple input type date. But if you want to see actually how it is designed, then what you do, go to settings. In the settings, you scroll, you will find Shadow DOM. You select this Shadow DOM and you close, and now see the body. In the body, you can see this is a date, and you can see date have a Shadow DOM. In this Shadow DOM, it is designed with so many things. It's very complicated design. You see, this is all used to just give you that output. You may be thinking that it is an element. It is not an element. Even ordinary text box is also not an text box. Even text box is a component. Button is a component. That means many people think that generally React, Angular, everybody will tell you in YouTube channels everywhere, they are component based. After all, HTML is component based. React, Angular, you don't need to think such long. General JavaScript also components. JavaScript, jQuery also have components. That means jQuery, JavaScript also have components. So you should not say that React is component based. Of course, we say that because what is the advantage of component based is such ready-made components you can create. There are ready-made components which you can use. You can create such components and you can make the design more easy. Reusability, maintainability, testability will improve by using these kind of components. Suppose if I ask you to design like this, it will take a lot of time. So you design a component and you can inject and use in any project, any location you want. So shadow DOM components we will discuss later. That is not the concept now. The concept is not component. The concept is what? Shadow DOM. So what is shadow DOM? Shadow DOM is nothing but, so it is an hierarchy. It is an hierarchy configured for every component in HTML. That means it is an hierarchy configured for every component in HTML. That means any component you are using, it have an hierarchy in the background, which is called shadow DOM. At high level DOM, inside the DOM, you will have shadow DOM. Every component means every element may not be a component, right? Components are different, elements are different. And here the concept is actually shadow DOM comprises of three basic things. Means usually it comprises of, you cannot see the logic behind this. Shadow DOM usually comprises of what it contains: markup, it comprises of styles, and it comprises of logic. Markup is defined by using HTML, styles are defined by using CSS, and logic is defined by using JavaScript, jQuery, anything we can use. Initially, it is using JavaScript. So what is DOM and what is shadow DOM? Actually, we can create such shadow DOM in general JavaScript. In advanced concept of JavaScript, I will explain that. How components are created by using an ordinary JavaScript logic. We will see that. That means you will able to design your own shadow DOM like this. You will able to design your own shadow DOM like this, so that it can be used in any page you want. You can just import and you can use at any place you want. That is the concept you will see. So this is two basic things you need to understand: what is DOM and what is shadow. Hope everyone is clear in this, right? HTML presents the DOM, and for every component there will be a shadow DOM, right? Now the question here, what is virtual DOM? This is what React talking about. That means in order to understand virtual DOM, first you should know what is DOM, what is shadow DOM. Right? In React interviews, majorities they will ask these differences also. What is difference between a shadow DOM and virtual DOM? What is DOM and what is shadow DOM? What is virtual DOM? Already its name itself telling what it is. Virtual means in physical reality doesn't exist, right? It is an virtual DOM. In physical reality, it doesn't exist. This is not a great concept, because as experts, experienced developers, they complain a lot on this, but still it is okay. It is better for certain situations. So we are going with this. It is not a great concept. That is the reason every technology is not using this virtual DOM. Every technology is not using virtual DOM, right? So if it is a great concept and it is a revolution in web designing, then every technology should do this. And if any technology is saying that we don't want this virtual DOM, that means there might be some issues related to this also. Right? Of course, there will be certain issues. We will see that. First point here, what is virtual DOM and why React is very concerned about this? The concept is very simple. Actually, virtual DOM means generally what happens is, I will upload those diagrams already there into Classroom later. Generally, what happens in a browser is usually when the presentation is configured, you will have a DOM. So that means a document object model is present. It is configured. This is the DOM. Now, what JavaScript, jQuery, and several other technologies do is, suppose in the DOM hierarchy, there will be so much. Like DOM hierarchy usually contains some images. So it contains some plugins. So something like this. Images is an array. So we have a forms is an array. I hope you know. You are aware of DOM architecture diagram. I think you learned in JavaScript or that. This is the basic DOM hierarchy. That is the basic DOM hierarchy. That means how HTML presents the DOM. That is the order. Usually JavaScript, jQuery, all they can manipulate the DOM in the same way. Right? This is the DOM hierarchy. Generally references, everything happens using this hierarchy only. For example, suppose first just roughly I will show you, see it. Suppose we have a page, we have form a div. So this is some register, and here we have username and a text box, and here we have some button. So input type is equal to button. Just I am using a button, right? There is another div. So here we have login and some email, some input type is email, and I just given some button. Actually, what we want here is, suppose there is an image. So width 100 and height 100. And border is 2, suppose 1. Now, what I want is, I want any language to take control over this dynamically. Then obviously they will follow a DOM hierarchy, right? That means image is empty, buttons are empty. I want any technology, any library language to take control and put some values inside. That means I want JavaScript to take control of picture and put some picture inside, and button some value inside. Then how JavaScript jQuery take control? Suppose I am writing on load, body load. So I am writing the script, the function body load, and in this, when body loads, let's refer this hierarchy. That means where is my images? So images are present here. That means what is the hierarchy of image? Image is present in document, document is in window. Where is my button? Button is present in elements, elements are in forms, forms are in document, document is in window. That is the hierarchy. That's what DOM is. Now let's see here. I am writing like this. I want to take charge of image, then window, in that document, in that images. Images is an array of images collection. Then which image you want to refer? First image, its index is 0. In that it is an image. So we will put an source, and source I have some images, some ASP dot, I have some location here, public images, some ASP.jpg, something like this. And it is going to display that image there. That is how JavaScript takes control over HTML. This is DOM hierarchy. This is the DOM hierarchy. That is how your JavaScript takes control. We have a window in the document. We have forms. In that first form, in that elements, in that first element is text box, second element is button. and that button element have a value called register, then it will put that register into that button here. What is it? Forms. So this forms of form is not there. Yeah. Here I haven't designed a form. Let's keep a form. Yeah. Here also I am keeping a form because we don't have forms. Right. And you can see it will take control of that and register. So DOM is the hierarchy which is always followed by your JavaScript jQuery. So that means if I want to access the second one, so window, so in window, in that document, in that forms, in the forms 0, 1, that is second form, in that elements, in that element, second element, and its value is what? Login. And it is going to display that here, login. That's the hierarchy. This is the hierarchy of DOM. That is the hierarchy of DOM. That means how it is going to control. That is the hierarchy of DOM. So that means here the concept is, now you saw this, but generally in general JavaScript, you might have learned get element by ID, get element by tag name, class name, query selectors, and all this. But the native way of representation is DOM hierarchy, right? That means the native is always fast, but issues are related to if I add one more element, index number will change, right? That is the reason you are very much concerned about the hierarchical misplacements. Due to that, what happens? One new element may come, one element may be removed. Now imagine in this lengthy hierarchy, if I need to update some data, or I need to update some value, or I need to add some element newly, how much complexity it is? Means how much time it may take to do this, right? That means how much time it may take to do that. For example, you see here, I am just monitoring this. I will remove this. Okay. I will go to this page. Let's go inspect. In inspect, I am going to network category. We will go to network category. In the network category, let's here in the network category, let's refresh the page once. Okay, this is the page I requested. And you can see the page that I requested here, it is showing that it took 68 milliseconds to load the DOM content. DOM content loaded in 68 milliseconds. Now, what I will do is I will apply this logic here. Now I am manipulating the DOM content. I will save this and I will go to the timing and see 105 milliseconds taken. 40 milliseconds taken for rendering your data into the DOM. 40 milliseconds is too much in web design. Even a 1-2 millisecond is very concerned for us. That means if 1 millisecond difference is coming, we implement that mechanism. Because this later leads to lot of delay in page loading. Right? That means even a 1 millisecond difference is there, developer prefers that technique. We are not concerned that only 1 millisecond now what will happen. That will be a bigger issue at a higher hierarchy. That means 48 milliseconds or 40 approximate milliseconds to finally update the data into DOM. Now, that means what you understood here is it is taking a lot of time to update your information into the DOM. Now, what React is doing, it is maintaining a virtual DOM for you. It is maintaining a virtual DOM for you. That means virtual DOM means what happens is virtual DOM is nothing but in the browser memory, it is going to maintain a duplicate of this DOM. In the browser memory, it is going to maintain a duplicate of this DOM. So this is your browser memory. In the memory, a duplicate DOM is maintained for that. And that is what we call as what? Virtual DOM. This is called as virtual DOM. And this virtual DOM is linked to your actual DOM. The virtual DOM is linked to the actual DOM. Now what happens is you added some data. That means what you done here is, this is the output where you are watching. That means here you are watching something like this here. That means this is the location. This is the output location here. Now what happens is you requested something. That means you added one message. You added one element. When you added the element, this will update into virtual DOM. And this virtual DOM immediately responds to you. That means what happens for this? It has taken 1 millisecond. It taken 1 millisecond because it is not actual DOM. It taken only 1 millisecond to give you. Now what happened is, that means in the output you are viewing the new details. In the result you are seeing the new details. But in the background, it is taking the 40 milliseconds to update in the background. Understood? That means in the background, it is taking so 40 milliseconds to update. But for user, the output is ready. For a user, the output is ready. He can see the result immediately. Is user concerned about what is happening in the background? No. User is concerned about how fast the result is coming on the screen. Then what virtual DOM is doing? It is bluffing you. It is bluffing you. That means it is showing a result to you which is not actually still updated, but it is updating in the background, and it is already shown to you that it is done. Debited from your account, but it is showing a process which says that it is completed, but in the background it will take some time to credit into his account, because background lot of process should happen. But you are satisfied. You are satisfied because a confirmation message immediately came to you saying that credit. But to credit into his account, it will take some time, which is actually updating into actual DOM. And what the result you are immediately watching is virtual DOM. That means you made a money payment, transaction complete. You are satisfied. But in the background, it is not finished. It is taking some time. This is the point of virtual DOM. That means you are satisfied. Client is satisfied. He can see it. But in the background, it is doing the work. It will do the work. It is guaranteed that it will do the work. Right? It is guaranteed that it will do the work. If it is not guaranteed, it should have shown some error to you. It is guaranteed that it will do the work, but it will take some time. That means they will say that in few minutes it will reflect. This is the process with virtual DOM. And what do you think? Is it satisfying? Technically, lot of issues will be there here. Technically, lot of issues will be there. The first important issue is, what do you think? Maintaining a complete virtual DOM for the actual DOM is easy in memory? Is it easy in memory to maintain a complete virtual DOM for its actual DOM? It leads to memory overhead. It leads to memory overhead. Lot of memory issues will come. Not just memory overhead, it may even lead to lot of security issues. Lot of security issues. That's the reason important here is one of the major users. That means your data can be easily hacked. Your data don't have that much security because it is dealing with virtual DOM. The best example, Facebook. Facebook, Netflix, all Amazon, all these people are using React. The best examples of people who are using React is Facebook is React. Now, what Facebook says, your data is not safe. Facebook says we don't assure any security on your data. Na? I hope you know that. Right? That means Facebook officially says that we are not giving any assurance of the data that is present in Facebook because we have issues. We have issues. They have issues. These kind of issues are very common when you are using a virtual DOM. Virtual DOM. But this is okay up to certain extent because React is not controlling your application flow. As we discussed yesterday, React is only for building user interfaces. If you are using React for building only user interfaces, it's okay. I don't care. Right? I don't care about this problem. But if it is going to control my application flow, that is dangerous. And React can't do this. React cannot control application flow. React is not a framework. React is a library. A library can only build application. It cannot control the application flow. Angular is a framework. And Angular will not use virtual DOM. Angular is not using DOM. And actually Angular is decoupled from DOM. It doesn't use any DOM manipulation. DOM manipulation. But a framework is very large for my application because my application is already using a lot of framework. My intention is to make my interface effective. Then in that case, React.js. In that case, React.js. So it is very good, but it has certain issues also. That is the concept of virtual DOM. That is the main concept of virtual DOM. Virtual DOM, in simple terms, it is a copy of actual DOM in memory. It is a copy of actual DOM in the memory. Now what happens is, so updates are first appended into virtual DOM, then into the actual DOM. So it looks faster in rendering output. It is faster in rendering output. So it is faster in rendering output. That is the reason we can say that React is very fast because it bluffs you. Not because it actually fast, because it just bluffs you that it is fast. But actually that is enough. That is okay for us because interface is fast, looking fast, it's okay. That is what we want. That is the key concept about virtual DOM. So this is one feature only, but that feature has a lot of concept to understand. Right? Virtual DOM is the key feature of React. Not only React, several other libraries are also using virtual DOM, but not everybody. I hope everyone is clear. What is DOM, what is shadow DOM, and what is virtual DOM. The React's one key concept is this. You will learn how to create virtual DOM, how to append into virtual DOM. These all basics you will learn in React once you start learning React. Okay, that is one feature. Second feature is actually component based. The second feature is component based. Component based, just now I told you, component based advantage is it makes application development fast because you can reuse the components without redesigning the components, right? So it is more easy for testing, reusability, separation. So maintainability, testability, reusability will improve if it is in component based. So component based main concept is reusability, maintainability, maintainability, and testability. Testability. And another important is loosely coupled. Loosely coupled. This is what we discussed yesterday. It is loosely coupled. That means it is easy to plug in any functionality to any location easily without redesigning the functionality, right? So that is one advantage of component based. Component based. This is so second important feature. One is virtual DOM. Another one is component based. Another very important is modular. Another important concept is modular. Modular is nothing but modular means actually libraries are two types. We have legacy and we have a modular library. Modular. Legacy means entire library is loaded even to handle a small operation. Modular means only the library that is required for that situation will be loaded. So entire library is not loaded to handle the simple operation. Modular means application specific library. What is needed for that particular situation, only that is loaded. That means it always implements lazy loading mechanism. That means only the content loaded when it is required. It will not eagerly load everything. So legacy type of libraries and modular libraries. Modular libraries make application lightweight. Modular libraries make application respond fast. The speed and the heaviness of the application depends on what type of library it is using. And it uses a modular library. Modular. I'm not telling general things. I'm going little technical because if you see online on internet, what are the features of React? You will see people telling React is easy to learn. Who wants easy to learn or hard to learn? Is it a concern to me? One of the key feature of React is easy to learn. Easy to learn is a feature of a technology, right? But even in official React documentation, it is mentioned easy to learn. That is one key feature of React. Easy to learn, what you are saying, what you are talking about. That these are not developer terms, right? So when you see at the features, because we have seen people in interviews, if I ask what are the features of React, easy to learn is one feature. Easy to learn is one feature of React. That's what you will see on YouTube channels also. People telling about React, easy to learn as a feature, right? That is not a concern for me at all. Because as a developer, what does it means for me, right? It doesn't matter for me, right? That means, is it modular? Is it reusable? Is it maintainable? Is it testable? These are the features, right? How it is easy, hard to learn, this doesn't matter for us, right? This is one important. Modular approach is very important. Another important is actually the AOT technique. AOT technique. These are very rarely seen in the React features anywhere because architecturally we are discussing the features. AOT technique is nothing but, I hope you know, JavaScript is JIT technique. Am I right? JavaScript uses JIT, just in time. And React and Angular, these are popular because not just in time, they are now recently using AOT, ahead of time. That makes, and this is a very recent one. That means earlier, even React and Angular were using JIT only. From past 1-2 years, they updated from JIT to AOT. That is very, very good. As a developer, we are very much satisfied with that. It's very good because actually AOT is ahead of time. That means generally what happens is, usually when you write any logic, suppose you are writing some logic, means just a basic point here. Suppose you are writing some script, and when you are writing some script, this script you written for an application. That means for an app, you written this script. Now, what is JIT technique? JIT technique is nothing but this script is loaded into browser and compiled in browser. That is JIT, just in time. Just in time. JavaScript is just in time compiled programming language. Just in time compiled programming language. JavaScript is that. That means it will compile in the browser. AOT ahead of time, it compiles at application level. That looks better. That means if you are compiling in browser, that means heavy on browser. It will take more time for rendering and painting and layout generations. Now we are using ahead of time. And this is very recently our engines and compilers started, because we started using several compilers. These compilers are implementing this AOT technique now. And like one of the popular compiler for JavaScript is Babel. Babel is the name of a compiler used by Angular, React, and Vue and other technologies. JavaScript based technologies use this compiler to compile the JavaScript code. And they use ahead of time technique. Ahead of time technique means before it reaches the browser, it compiles. Just in time technique means it compiles in the browser. Compiles in the browser. JavaScript actually compiles in the browser, and this React, Angular, these will compile before they reach the browser. This is ahead of time. That is one very important. Actually, these are very important new features into these technologies. These are some key features of React. These are the key features of React, right? Other features you will technically understand once you start learning the technology. These are enough, right? Now, what are the drawbacks of React also we need to understand. Certain issues with React. What are the problems, issues in React that we will see in our next session, right? Today, this is enough, right? We discussed about some important things about React, right? So what are the key features we discussed? Now, drawbacks are simple to understand. I will explain what are the drawbacks of React. Then from next session, we will start practically working with. But practically, as I told you, we will not directly go into React first. First few days, our session will be on advanced JavaScript. That means I will brush up all the JavaScript skills that we need for React. Then after that, we will go into React. We will not directly work on React. First, we will learn some basics and advanced concepts of JavaScript, which we regularly use in React, right? So after understanding that, then we can start working on React. So at least 1 week we will spend on JavaScript for learning basic advanced level, which is required for our React. After that, we can start working on React, right? Because without that, we can't handle React directly. Even you know JavaScript, certain basics I will show you. So those we will discuss, then we will go into React concept. So from next session, we will start JavaScript, basic and advanced. A fast overview I will give for all the concepts. Any important topic, we will slowly discuss detailedly. Then we will implement that in our React, okay? And our next session, tomorrow no session. Our next session will be on Monday. Our next session will be on Monday. Tomorrow no session. Right, our next session will be on Monday. Usually every Saturday we will have session. Usually we will have session, but sometimes generally when many real-time people are into the batch, then according to their request, Saturdays we will take off. Right? If they are willing to attend, then we will attend. We will continue. Otherwise, we will take a break on Saturdays. But it is not guaranteed, right? If they are available, then we will take. Majority we will keep it ability on Saturdays also. But during the demo, we will take a break on Saturday. Again, our session will be on Monday. And if you missed the previous session and this classroom related notes, I will upload into Google Classroom. This is the Google Classroom code. You can log in into Google Classroom. This is the Google Classroom. It is available as an app on your mobiles also. And in this, your batch is this. Yeah. This is the batch code. This is the code. If anyone is not there, you can use it, right? For online people, we will ping here. Yeah. This is the code. You can follow this Google Classroom code. You can join this Google Classroom using this code. Here I will upload all the documentations. That means what I showed you, and presentation and the documents related notes and everything I will give here. It is a Google Classroom, right? You will get all the notes here step by step. Okay. Then Monday will continue, right? Thank you. Yes.